All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is the Fourth and Whatever podcast with Mike and Adam. Glad to have you back. We've got another great episode ready for you guys today. So just stick around. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And here we go. Before, man, how do you feel about it so far?
I'm ready for this one, man. This is one I think people like. Everybody likes rankings, and going into the postseason rankings is something we're going to be doing on this one, or posted preseason rankings, kind of the power rankings for the SEC teams. So I'm real pumped for this one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's going to be cool, man. Maybe a little lengthy, but we'll try to push through it and everything like that. Before we dive into the rankings, though, Mike, today, which when this episode comes out, it'll be a week ago that they announced, Tennessee just hit like some sort of crazy bombshell on us today with the reveal of the new 2025 Smoky Grey uniforms, man.
Bro.
What were your initial reactions when you saw it this morning?
But yeah, you text me when I was actually I was on the golf course this morning. Don't even know why I play that sport, but I was out there. That's a whole other topic. But I was out on the golf course, and you'd sent me that text. I was looking it up, and dude, I think they're sick, man. I've seen some hate on the light gray part of the pants, but I personally just think it's awesome. It's one of my favorites that I've
Yes.
seen them do. Absolutely sick, man.
Yeah, I agree, dude. When I first saw them, first thing I did was I took screenshots of every one of them I saw and sent them directly to you. And I was like, dude, look at these.
Yeah.
I love them, man. And I wasn't expecting it because it seems like usually something like that would be released or teased, a little closer to the season or maybe mid-season.
They're
Dude,
just wait on those, dude. They're sitting on it. They're like, no, we gotta let them know.
those things are so fire. Too bad they didn't release them like a couple weeks ago. We just had an episode last week
Yeah.
showing our favorite uniforms, man. I think the favorite uniform combos could be different now.
I totally agree, man. Ready to definitely see them when they got them on the field to see like how that looks, in person or on TV and stuff. But I think they're gonna look awesome.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. So with that being said, like Mike said at the beginning of this episode, we are going to go over some rankings today. Mike's going to kind of give what he feels like is his top 16 teams in the SEC. I guess what do you want to do? You want to go 1 through 16, or do you want to build some suspense and go 16 through 1? How do you want to do it?
Well, we could start in the bottom there and let them let you know what our top's gonna be like. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could
Okay.
definitely do that. So
Let's do that, man. Let's do that. So, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and start it off.
yeah,
I was kind of torn on who should be at the bottom of the barrel. I went ahead and just put Mississippi State on there just because they've had such a tough go at it here lately. Haven't had a really good season in a few years. I did kind of look at some because obviously we're not professionals. We've said that before on this channel. So we don't really know every single player, every single statistic. It does say that their quarterback Blake Shapen returns, but they have a brutal schedule. So at least they've got the same quarterback. We've talked about how quarterbacks are important, so that might be a positive for Mississippi State. But I've got them bottom of the barrel, man. They've struggled, and I think they'll continue to struggle.
yeah. So and we haven't talked about this yet, so it's cool. We're kind of figuring this out as we go.
Yeah,
I do have Mississippi State. Same spot, and the only thing I really can add on that is I think I've seen something where it was like a winless conference record last year. Quarterback is back, but there's not a lot that was like coming in to make this team any more exciting. Unfortunately for them, I just have to put them down there on that spot. I ain't really got much else to say on that one, but I can go ahead and jump into my next one there, and then we
go
can
for
go
it.
from there. I've actually got right behind them then at 15. I've got Kentucky.
Okay.
And some of the things we kind of looked at, obviously, we've had to look up some research a little bit on this topic to get some
Right.
ideas of the teams, to know a little bit about them. But, Kentucky's going through another quarterback change again. I think they'll have another quarterback than they did last year. It seems to be a trend there. They've had, several different ones as it goes. Man, Kentucky's just not really a football school, dude. And I just don't think there's, it is what it is. But I don't think there's anything that I was reading on that gives Kentucky something to look forward to this year. So that's why I'm putting them on that 15 spot.
Makes sense. Makes sense. It was a close race for me. All these, man. I really had to sit and think about who I wanted to put where. But number 15 for me, it's our favorite little brother. It's our favorite quarterback to hate, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt Commodores, man. Diego Pavia, him and the Vanderbilt Commodores, I put them at 15, maybe partially because of the comments that he made, which we brushed on in a previous episode. But, they did have a successful season last year. So respect on that aspect of things. But I just can't get past the fact that they are Vanderbilt, man. That's just how I feel about it. Diego Pavia returns. I read somewhere that it fuels optimism in the Vanderbilt locker room that he's coming back. I guess, he did have a pretty good season, but they're Vanderbilt to me.
I get that, man. I do. Yeah, I understand. It's so that's what you're 15 there, I guess.
Yeah,
For them, and then I understand that, man, for sure.
no doubt.
But I guess to be you, then if you want to go on to your 14
Yeah,
after
okay, yeah.
them, yeah,
That'll work. So 14, kind of funny. I put Kentucky right ahead of Vanderbilt. I know Kentucky gave some teams a little bit of a fight last year. Not They didn't really have that great of a record, and like you said, they're not a football school by any means. But you never know. I still want to rank them above Vanderbilt though, just because
yeah,
I don't know.
I get it. We're just reversed on that because I actually got Vanderbilt as my fourth.
Okay,
I did put them a little bit ahead of Kentucky. I mean, as much as I want to hate on them, but they are getting their quarterback back.
that's true.
They did have a
Yeah.
good season for Vanderbilt last year. That being said, Vanderbilt, a lot of the things I read that they're not predicted high again, and part of that is probably just because it's Vanderbilt, man. I mean, they've not. I think until Vanderbilt can have a couple of those like in a row type seasons to where they kind of get that respect and earn it, then they can. You might see them kind of go up in the rankings, for the power rankings preseason. But as of right now, it's kind of hard to say that. I don't think last year's happening again the same way I did this year, and they kind of ended their season kind of, you know what I mean? Like they had that good like start and kind of caught in the middle a little bit, beating Bama and everything. But then as the season kind of panned out a little bit, they did start dropping a few losses. And, I think he'll kind of continue into this year. I don't think there'll be a repeat there. So that's why I put them at my 14. So we were just kind of flipped on that.
Okay.
And then I guess to kind of go on to the next one there above them, and somewhere along the lines here in my notes, well, I've missed a team somewhere. I kind of realized it when we were talking. There's going to be somewhere I'm going to have to catch a team and be like, where did I put them in there? That I meant to put them there. But
Gotcha.
all these bottom ones, I think I've got kind of how I want it. But just under that, let's see, what are we on? We just went over 14. So at 13, I've got Arkansas. And honestly, it's kind of getting into that hard part of like, where do you put some power rankings for teams? But Arkansas just hasn't been, you know, last year or so after last year weren't great, even though they managed to beat Tennessee. But after that, really, I mean, it's like I felt like they, looked okay. And then it just kind of after that, I don't think they did a whole lot last year.
Yeah.
I didn't read about a lot of big moves. I mean, I'm sure like if you're a fan of these teams, you may know of something that we don't know. So again, we're not experts. Nothing stood out to me. So I just kind of put Arkansas there at
Yeah.
13.
No doubt, man. Okay, so for my number 13 pick, I definitely I agree with you on Arkansas. However, I chose to go with Oklahoma on this one, coming off of their first SEC season, being in the SEC for the first time. I think that the fan base was let down majorly. And I'm not going to sit here and say welcome to the big leagues or anything like that, but I do think it was maybe a little bit of a wake up call just for their culture and everything. They've had successful teams in the past, and their quarterback situation last year didn't really work out that well with Jackson Arnold, I believe it was. Things just didn't pan out for them in Oklahoma there when they came to the SEC. So I think that they still have some building blocks to establish before they can start finding any success. I pray that all of these rankings we don't get proved wrong at some point during the season. It could happen. Who knows? We may look back on this and say, "Man, we missed that one big time." But and Oklahoma is
Somebody will.
all yeah. And Oklahoma is one of those teams where they could be sneaky, man. You never know. I mean, they've got the culture and the tradition and everything. I think that they just need a little bit of time to find their footing in the SEC. So number 13, Oklahoma for me. Number 12 for me, since we're kind of doing it like that, I went ahead and put Arkansas at number 12. So I gave them a notch above Oklahoma simply because they got us last year. Gave them a notch on that one. Arkansas, they've got that quarterback, Taylon Green, I believe is his name. Pretty good quarterback. He showed some promise there. I think he even played, he may have played some against us too and looked pretty good, which we lost. So, but yeah, that number 12 spot, Arkansas, I think they're a tough team, man. They got a really cool coach. I like their coach. They've got some playmakers and things of that nature. They really do play some hard nosed football. So you never know about another team like I just talked about. You never know about Arkansas, man. And last year speaks true to that with the Tennessee game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just kind of goes, to show that conference play, man. Sometimes teams that shouldn't beat you can just say it's any given Saturday, man. It really is. I mean, I know
Yeah.
you hear it, but no, I definitely get that. For my 12th spot, I picked Auburn.
Okay.
Auburn maybe could be higher, but I read about their schedule wise and having a really tough schedule. And so sometimes the brutality of that on an Auburn team that has kind of struggled a little bit the last couple of years, so and with last year. And so that's kind of why I picked Auburn, honestly. Mainly like when I read the schedule and nothing. And again, not that they could, Auburn could be a team that I think could flip on I might be completely wrong about, but like from saying I've seen, I kind of put them at 12 on that for Auburn. Was my 12th spot. To go into my 11th spot, though, and the team that I did forget about, but I'm putting at 11 because I was looking at my list, Oklahoma.
Gotcha.
So I put Oklahoma at 11 because, like I said, last year, I mean, it was that welcome to the SEC kind of moment for them. That being said, I do think Oklahoma's had some teams. Yeah, exactly. And I think they've had some teams that could have competed in the SEC. Realistically, and there has been times, right?
Yep.
Last year was not one of those years. They were kind of a down year. I read some things about maybe some improvements and some stuff, and they actually had them a little higher in some of the things I've seen. For that reason, I went ahead and slipped them up to 11. Still kind of kept them in that kind of bottom part, but there might be some improvement, and that and they're another team that could easily, I think, flip into that top 10 power rankings by the end of the season next year.
Yep. Seems like the media always has Oklahoma kind of high up on their
Yeah,
list, regardless of, how things panned out the year before.
yeah, for
But,
sure,
but yeah.
for sure.
Okay, so number 11 for me, that's where we're at, right? Number 11. I went ahead and put Missouri in there, man. Missouri, I don't really know too much about their team right now. They had a really good run there a couple years ago, but they lost a lot of their pieces. But I do think that they have a good coaching staff down there, and they're always just going to play tough ball. They've had some close calls with some teams, some big time teams over the past few years. They've given Tennessee kind of a hard time from time to time. I think it was either last year or the year before they gave Georgia an absolute fit. So, I mean, they're again. I mean, I think we could just say that about every SEC team, right? I mean, even maybe the lowest tier, you really don't know about some of these teams. Any given Saturday, like you said, anybody could get beat. So, number 11, yep, I'm gonna go ahead and throw Missouri in there. Number 10 for me, getting into this top 10. I've read and seen a lot of rankings, and I don't get some of the rankings that I've seen online.
Yeah.
I think that, which obviously it's too early to tell, right? But I put this team at number 10, and I've seen rankings where this team is like number 4, number 5. So I'm putting this team at 10. Yeah, and it's Texas A&M, man. I don't know what it is about A&M. It almost seems like they might be slightly overrated every year. Their season, they start out with a lot of preseason hype and then it just doesn't pan out. I
Yeah.
remember preseason talks last year. Everyone was saying that Texas A&M was going to make it to the playoffs and all that stuff. And they opened it to 12 teams. Texas A&M was not one of those teams. It is what it is, man. I think that they've got the pieces that they need. I know that their quarterback down there is really, really good. Marcel Reed, I think he's a freshman, if I remember correctly on what I read earlier. So I do think that I just think they're a little bit overrated. All the online rankings, man, have them a little too high, in my opinion. So number 10, Texas A&M.
No, I get that, man, for sure. And it seems it's we've seen it happening before with them too. So, and what was it, a few years ago when they were ranked like to be like way up there, like with like Bama level, they turned around and had one of the worst fallouts. Like they were like a top 5 team and just did awful that year. So it's hard to, and we might be completely wrong, but no, I get what you're saying on that. They all have
And
had them pretty high.
yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be thinking about a completely different season. Sometimes games
Yeah.
kind of just blend together and mesh together, but if I'm not mistaken, last year at Texas A&M's home field, which people consider one of the toughest places to play, I think didn't Notre Dame come in there and beat them last year? I want to
Well,
say that's
yes, I
right.
think you're right. We check that, but I do think that was last year. So yeah, that I do believe that
And
happened.
even though Notre Dame had a great season, everyone was still like, okay, well, this is an SEC team in one of the toughest places to
Yeah,
play at night, and Notre Dame just came in there and beat them. I think that's true. I think that happened.
yeah. It was if it wasn't last year, it was the year before at least, but
Right.
it's been within the last couple of years for
Yeah.
sure. Um, my 10 was actually Missouri on that one, so I did still have them down kind of lower like you did.
Okay.
Again, it was just I don't think they'll be as strong as they were. Like they kind of got some momentum there the last couple of years. I mean, last year didn't end as too well for them, but like the year before, they had a really good season, and then but going into this year, I just think they're going to be right around that 10 spot, kind of mid-level area, with it because I just don't know a lot about what they brought in this year.
Yeah.
But what I have read, I don't think they're going to be as strong or have as much as they had from the momentum from a couple of years ago. So that's why I put them there at 10. And then getting into number 9, I had Ole Miss. It might be a little low for some. It is Lane Kiffin offense, but they lost Jackson Dart, who'd been there for so long. But I don't know how the quarterback situation is going to be. I mean, new guy coming in could always step in and be
Right.
something great. But and it is a Lane Kiffin offense, so I still think and we're getting into that part now of ranking where not is doesn't mean you're a bad team.
Yep.
At this
I
point,
agree.
like if you're starting to get into that 9, 8, and above on the SEC, I think all these are going to be decent teams from here on out that we're talking about. But I went ahead and put Ole Miss at 9 there for that reason.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, on my list, I'll get to it in a little bit. I have Ole Miss slightly higher, not too much higher, but yeah, I agree with everything you said. Number 9 for me might be a little bit of a shocker to you because it's a lot different than where you placed this team. I went ahead and put Auburn at number 9, just because I do know that they've got Hugh Freeze down there as their head coach. He's historically pretty good, kind of brings in some good recruits, things of that nature. They did pick up Oklahoma's quarterback, Jackson Arnold. I am a little anxious to see just how he does in that environment. In a Oklahoma fans may hate us, but in a true SEC environment,
Yeah,
you know,
it's not going to go over too well. It's okay.
major slight to Oklahoma fans. My apologies, but I am anxious to see how he does because I think Jackson Arnold is a good quarterback. I don't think he might be. I just don't think he's been able to prove himself yet. So I think the ability's there, the capabilities there. I'm anxious to see what he does at Auburn. Auburn's always a tough team. I mean, it seems like no matter how bad they do, they always give Bama a pretty decent fight. So you never know about Auburn, man. You never know.
Let's see them in that. Going to be in a true SEC school.
Yeah, dude. Might catch some heat on that if any Oklahoma fan ever watches this podcast.
Maybe they'll let us know about it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, if you're
unintentional.
yeah, if you're a Oklahoma fan, comment down below. Tell us how much you hate us. Tell us how much Auburn sucks or whatever you want to tell us.
Make sure you like and subscribe too while you're at it.
Yeah, while you're leaving some hateful comments, please please subscribe to
Yeah,
the
because if
channel.
you subscribe, then you can continue to do that. Just think about that.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, number 9 Auburn.
Yeah.
Moving on to number 8 because you gave us your 9, correct? Yeah, you
Yeah.
did. So number 8 is another one of those teams that I looked at a bunch of different rankings online and I just simply didn't agree with how high they were on the list. I just didn't. So I had to knock them down according to how I feel and what I've seen over the past couple years. I went ahead and put LSU right there at number 8, man.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like every year I swear they put LSU like top 3, top 4
Yeah.
top five SEC. And it's like over the past few years, man, they just have not got the job done. Disappointment after disappointment. They had a pretty decent run there with Jaden Daniels, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they had a really good run with him.
But
After
look how good he is. Like,
Right. Yeah,
so
see
how
what
much of
he's
that was
doing in the
just
league.
him?
Exactly. He's doing great in the league now. You remove him from the equation, man, and LSU just kind of started plummeting. And everyone talks about their defense and all that stuff. They just haven't shown me anything to grant them a top three or four, even top five position in the SEC. That's just my take on it. They do have their quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier. I know that he's pretty highly touted, and everyone down there thinks that he's really good. Maybe he is. I am going to be anxious to see what he does. I do enjoy watching LSU play, especially night games. I think they've got a really cool environment, crazy crowd.
Yeah.
They could prove me wrong, but for now, I'm going to just keep LSU right there at number 8. Seems like they might have been a little overhyped over the past couple years.
Good tell. I like it, man. I like some difference from than what we just see too. Even throwing some of the real opinions on it. For my number 8, and I guess it probably still lower than what some predict, is where I'm going to throw Texas A&M.
Okay.
I was going to throw them at number 8, interchangeable almost with the Ole Miss and them on my list. But A&M's another team that again, I think they're supposed to be highly talented recruit wise and stuff like that. But until A&M can put together some seasons, they've same in and out each year. I feel like ranked high at first year, not coming out and performing throughout the year. So I'm just going to put them at number 8, and that's really my reason. I don't really have the greatest reason for that, but I just I don't think they're going to be as good, as some have been predicting. So
And you know what, dude? We don't need a reason.
yeah, that's
We
just how
don't
I
need a
feel.
reason.
That's a feeling. See if we might be wrong, but
Yeah.
we'll see. So
No doubt, dude.
yeah,
It will be super cool at the end of the season to go back to this episode
yeah.
and see how our rankings panned out.
See how wrong or how close it was. And
Yeah.
there'll be some surprise. There's got to be. There's 16 teams. There's going to be
Right.
somebody surprise you. So
Crazy stuff happens all the time. And
absolutely.
if you guys want to comment later on, like midway through the season, and you revisit this episode because you knew it was a preseason ranking, feel free to blast us if you
Yeah.
want to.
What you gotta do? I mean, I know how it is. I see people sometimes. I'm like, no, he don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional, so I'm just going off of some things I've read on and some things I feel though.
Exactly.
And going into so that now we just did our 8, going into to number 7 for me. I'm gonna say South Carolina. I wanted to almost put South Carolina higher based on how their season went last year. I truly did. Quarterback returning. This is when I was on the edge of like, man, there's just a couple teams I wanted that I put in front of them, but I really, they could interchange with some of those teams. I'm telling you, like that. This is number 7. They could easily interchange with like the 6th and the 5th spot. But I did read that they lost maybe some defense that they had that really helped them win a lot of games last year. They had, their offense. The quarterback was doing good, but it wasn't just a big offensive team that like went out and aired out and scored all kinds of points. The defense kept, it was just an important piece for them. So if that defense is weak, then I think they're gonna struggle a little bit. And I just think that South Carolina has a good chance of being in the middle path this
Yep.
year. So
I
it'll be
agree.
dangerous because again, that's in the middle there. You don't know. They could show up and beat anybody, but I think they're going to be kind of that in the middle. So that's wanted to rank them that going into the season.
Okay. So that was your number 7. My number 7, I think, and the way I feel about the rest of the list, I think with an expanded playoff, you're looking at 12 teams. I think we are now creeping into whatever SEC schools make it to the playoffs. Realistically, looking at our lists, I think any one of these teams, 1 through 7, maybe even 1 through 8, I do think that either one of these teams could make the playoff. I really do. I think we're obviously creeping into that higher tier, upper echelon teams of the SEC. Number 7, I've got Ole Miss. Got them slightly ranked
Yeah.
higher than you had them on your list, just because Lane Kiffin. I mean, if you talk to some Tennessee fans, a lot of people don't like Lane. I think the way that he does things down there is really unique. I think it's more geared towards the younger generation. I mean, he's all over Twitter. People love it. His tweets go viral. I'm sure that he is one heck of a recruiter. easily reeling in guys. I know Lane hits the portal pretty heavy. I do know that for a fact. So he's pulling in top tier portal talent. When you start picking and choosing the players that you want, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that obviously, depending on when you get them and how they mesh with the current roster, I mean, you can run into issues there, and I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can go over that at some point on another episode, like a deep dive into what it means to get
Yeah.
a portal guy and how they get implemented into the roster. But I think Ole Miss is really going to potentially make a wave this year. I really do think that.
Give me like 2 seconds. Apologize for my dog here. I'm just going to push this door out.
I think I think his dog's an Ole Miss fan as well.
Hey, you better get out of here if that's the case.
Oh, okay.
Only Tennessee fans around here.
That's right. I think our dogs are both super fans of our podcast, man.
I think so.
They always seem to give their opinion.
Yeah, definitely do.
But yeah, so Ole Miss number 7 for me. I'm gonna go ahead and creep on in. Did you give your number 7 or no?
Yeah, because I think I said my number
Oh
7
yeah,
was South Carolina. Yeah.
that's right. That's right. So I'm gonna roll us on into number 6.
Yeah.
Number 6, I really played around with the top 6. Usually you play around with the top 5. I kind of mixed around with the top 6 here. So I wanted to go with Florida at number 6.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida at number 6, just because of their quarterback DJ Lagway. I think he's a really good quarterback, and I think that the success that they found last year towards the tail end of the season was just phenomenal, man. I think that easily saved Billy Napier's job for one. And if it wasn't for the success that they had at the end of the season, I am 100% confident that he wouldn't have a job in Florida. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know, probably not even the SEC, but I think they're on the rise, man. Florida has been down for a while. They still manage to beat us every time we play them at the Swamp, but they've hit a little rough patch here
Yeah.
lately, and I think that last year gave them a little bit of hope, and that's crazy coming from a Tennessee fan, man. But I got to give credit where credit's due. They looked really good at the end of the season there. DJ Lagway, like I said, the quarterback, the running back, Montrell Johnson Jr. I think that he showed some flashes last year of being a really good player. So I think they've got some playmakers down there, man. I'm a little nervous about playing them this year, not going to lie.
Yeah. No, man, I do. I think Florida's going to be tough for sure. And I get having them high, man, because you had them. So that was your 6, right? Just make sure we're on the right track there. But
yeah,
I completely get having them high, man. For me, I'm going to put my 6th one. I'm gonna put Tennessee. As a Tennessee fan, I wanna throw us up, top level. The two biggest factors for me is obviously going to be how the quarterback's going to do, how Joey's going to do, and then the young receiver core. Some young receiver talent that I think could be a good thing if Joey does good with them and they really progress and step up. I think that could be really good for Tennessee, and we could end up having ourselves a really good season. But in this, I'm gonna put them at 6, and some of the rankings, dude, have them at like 9, lower, 10.
I know.
So I'm probably putting a little Tennessee fan bias into this, but at the same time, we've been pretty good the last few years, man, and I think we've been in that kind of, I would say, 5th, 6th best SEC team, even better at times. Like we've had high ranked moments, so I think it's kind of a disjustice to put Tennessee so low this year just because of the quarterback change. Because I've seen a ranking when Nico was there and they were up at like maybe it was 5 or 6, something pretty far up there.
Yeah.
And I just don't know that just losing Nico drops it that much.
Yeah, I agree.
In my opinion. So I'm going to put Tennessee on for my 6th spot. But kind of getting into that 5th spot for me, got very close to where you had them. As bad as I hate to put them there, I enjoyed Florida being terrible last year. It was, well, they ended the season good, but it's been nice to see them not be that competitive. So the last couple of years, but I'm going to put Florida at the 5th position because of the way they ended the season so strong. Young quarterback they have, if he really comes and shows out this year, I think that Florida is going to be a tough team and will be back up in there as a team to deal with in the SEC.
Yep. I'm glad you and I had Florida close to the same spot because, I mean, we're Tennessee fans, dude. We shouldn't be giving Florida any credit, but you can't deny what they were able to accomplish there at the end of the season. Built so much
I hope we're
momentum.
wrong.
Yeah, dude. We have to go down to Gainesville this year, which we're going to do a deep dive into Tennessee's schedule probably when the season gets a little closer. But
for sure.
yeah, yeah, I hope we're dead wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for now, we're just giving it a gut feeling. I think we're just both going off of things that we saw last year, and that's all we have to go off of right now.
Absolutely.
So top five. So we're in the top five now. So rounding out the top five for me, I've got family members that probably aren't going to like where this team's placed. I've got people that I know. There's tons of these fans everywhere. We all know them. I've got Alabama number five, man. I think that, and I'm not one of those people that say Bama has fallen off. I will never say that. You'll never hear me say that. Alabama to me is still Alabama with Nick Saban, without Nick Saban. I mean, their track record speaks for itself. I respect them, but I think that when you've been at the top for so long, when you fall, you don't have to fall down much, but there is a period where you have to slowly pick yourself back up. And I think that right now they're in what I would just consider a little dip. They have to pick up the pieces. They have to find what's going to work for them.
Yeah.
New coach Kalen DeBoer. I mean, his track record speaks for itself as well. I mean, he's won everywhere he's been. But did he win a natty? Did
Is that when he
Washington?
was Washington they got to the championship?
Okay, yep. I mean, he's I don't know his record as a head coach, but it's insane. I mean, he has like a super high win percentage as a head coach. And you know that Alabama's still rolling in the recruits. They're just building that arsenal up. 5-star guys, 4-star guys. They've got them tucked away. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do at quarterback this year. I looked his name up, but I can't remember what his name is. But it's going to be interesting to see who their quarterback is this year, how he plays, how he performs. Bama's had some pretty high level quarterbacks over the past few years. I mean, you think Bryce Young, you think Jalen Hurts, all those guys.
Yeah.
So who knows? I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. I apologize for that, but I do know that they have Ryan Williams, the wide receiver.
He's the real
Freaking,
deal.
yeah, freak of nature, crazy athlete. I feel like whoever their quarterback is, if they give him a chance and put the ball anywhere around him, they're going to find success. So number five for me, Bama. Just because you're number five doesn't mean that you've fallen off or that you suck or it's over for the dynasty. I still have respect for you guys, but got to put you at number five right now, just based off the season you had last year. So I'm gonna go ahead and take us to number four. May come as no surprise since I am a Tennessee fan. I've got us at number four, man. I think that everything that we've built over the past few years, we've touched on it on this podcast before with Josh Heupel changing the culture and everything like that. We've had some young talent come through that Josh has recruited and everything. We haven't really hit the portal like I thought we should have to get some pieces, but I still think we're a good team, man. And I hate that people have written us off so quickly just because we lost Nico and all that stuff. But I think we've got the key pieces. We've got a good culture. We've got a killer fan base, and not to mention our defensive back, Jamard McCoy. Jamard McCoy, he is just insane.
NCAA ranking.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the highest ranked players, defensive players on the game, maybe the highest ranked defensive player on the
He's
game.
up there, man.
So when you add that to the equation, and then of course Deshaun Bishop, our running back, he showed glimpses of promise last year, and I mean he came in like mop up duty and stuff like that late in games.
Yeah.
But I think we've got a young core with a few veterans, and we've got playmakers, man, and we've
Yes.
got that Josh Heupel offense. Having them at four may be a little biased, like you said when you ranked them, but right
I
right
like it.
now right now I'm feeling Tennessee at number four, dude.
I like it, man. I do. I hope where I put them's wrong and they're just up higher than what I had
Yeah.
for sure, man. But my number four spot, I've got Bama. Dropping off, right? They've dropped off their 4 and 5 spot, but it's what it feels like to people that because Bama, like you said, when you're used to being at the top every time, 4 or 5 in the SEC, that's dropping off, right? But Bama's going to be tough still, man. I mean, the quarterback question for me is what's kind of got why I've got them at 4. That's going to matter, obviously, to how they do. But I did see something where they still have, like, I think it's going to be one of the best O lines in the nation up there. I did
Wow.
read something on that. So, and then they've got a solid team, obviously, and then Williams. I mean, so they got some weapons. If the QB steps in and does great, Bama's going to be right there. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. But for the QB reason and the way they kind of last year, you felt that little bit of drop off from the fans and stuff. They're not used to that. So maybe that kind of puts them in a slump going into this year. And when I say a slump, dude, I've got them at 4. So we're not, you know what I mean? This isn't no like just hate on Bama, or anything and
Yeah,
saying, oh yeah, they're done. Saban's gone. It's not like that. But I just think right now that 4 spot, 5 spot, like you've got them at, it's kind of where they fit right now going into the season.
gotcha.
My number 3, this is probably one of our biggest differences we've had. I get what you were saying earlier though when you were talking about this. I'm going to put LSU at 3.
Mm,
And the quarterback coming back, I did read something about upgrading that receivers, potentially some of their wideouts. So I think they're going to have some real offensive weapons that can make LSU kind of dangerous this year. And LSU football has been down for a little bit, but I feel like they're a program that's like that won't hardly stay down. I might be wrong, but I just feel this year they're probably going to have a pretty good year. So I'm actually going to put them at 3,
gotcha, man.
which is kind of up there with what some of the people say. But I definitely get what you're saying, man. I mean, it could, they have kind of let down a little bit the last several years, even though they have that team. And I don't know, Brian Kelly, maybe, I mean, just it's what it is. Maybe it gets hyped up and it just don't happen. But and that might happen this year. But I did go ahead and put them at my 3 spot.
Gotcha. Yeah, I respect it, man. And me putting them so low at number 8 where I put them, it might be a little low. It is what it is. But I just went with gut feeling.
I don't think there's a major difference between that 3 and 8 spots though, and with how we're ranking these right now.
True, true.
You know,
I'd agree with that.
not so crazy, a difference anyways. Obviously that's our biggest gap, but
Yep. My number 3 is probably going to be a little crazy. I don't know that too many people are going to agree with me on this. It's definitely a hot take, man. It's definitely controversial, man.
I like it.
I've got South Carolina at number 3, dude. And I know that sounds wild. And honestly, I do not like South Carolina whatsoever. And maybe I'm just feeding into the hype of their quarterback, Lenore Sellers. I've heard that, well, I'll say this. I went to South Carolina and worked for about a week there a couple months ago. And I was like 5 minutes from the stadium where I was working and staying and everything. And I mean, I was in Gamecock country, dude. Like I was the outcast. I had a T on my hard hat, and everybody was making fun of me, and I was definitely in the wrong place.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you
But
wore that down there.
oh yeah, hard hat had T's plastered all over it. But their quarterback, I think is, and this is just going to be a prediction. It may not come true. It may come true. Who knows? I think their quarterback is going to be one of those like for South Carolina, not in like the grand scheme of things, but I think he's going to be like one of those once in a generational talents for South Carolina. I think he has the capabilities and the potential to be something truly special. Probably top 2 or 3
Yeah,
round draft pick when he or not round but pick overall, a top 2 or 3 pick overall when he goes to the draft. I think he's electric. I think he's a really good player. South Carolina they had a good season last year. I mean, they were kind of like making their case to get put into the playoffs last year, if you remember correctly.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, for
Shane,
sure. They're right there.
yeah, their coach Shane Beamer. I mean, he was just like, you got to respect it. I mean, hey, what about us? What about us? It's like they kept getting overlooked, which I'm glad they did. Tennessee kind of crept into the playoffs, so I'm
Yeah,
glad that I'm
for
glad that
sure.
South Carolina didn't make it. But
Wait,
they had a good case. They had a great season. They're tough. They're a scary team to play. I mean, you remember back when they just beat the crap out of us, dude. I mean, it was embarrassing. I don't know that I've ever felt as bad as I felt after that game was over because I always kind of looked at South Carolina as the team that you should just beat them every time. But not the case anymore. I think they're on the rise. I think they're really good. Maybe no one will agree with me, but I got them at number 3.
I get it. I like that little different take too than what some people's going to have them at, but they did end on the high note. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah, man. And now we're 2-1 here, man. We haven't neither one of us have named either one
Two
of these
teams.
teams, obviously.
So we're going to be close at least.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe the
anxious to.
same.
Yeah, maybe the same, maybe not. I'm anxious to see where you got them. I'll go ahead and just say my number two.
Okay.
I got Georgia at number two, man. I got Georgia at number two. Obviously, major questions at the quarterback spot after losing their QB. They got Gunnar Stockton now. Don't know anything about him. Not going to pretend like I know anything about him. I don't think anybody knows anything about him. Well, that's probably too crazy to say. Somebody knows something about him.
Yeah. Georgia fans
But
are like, what?
how dare you talk about Gunner like that? But yeah, Georgia's number three, dude. In my opinion, obviously, I think there's a new sheriff in town in the SEC. I'll just leave it at that.
Dude, I'm going to agree with you, actually. I've got Georgia sitting on my list at number two. QB spot, obviously, anytime you got to change like that. And I just haven't heard a lot about him. Georgia being Georgia still gets to the number two spot for me because I know they're going to have defensive play, 4 or 5 stars. They're going to have still good, probably offense around the quarterback. They're still going to have the weapons, but they just dropped down to two for me because at the same time, I don't know about the QB. And even like some of their big skill position spots, I'm not real sure about as a team and coaching. I mean, you got, Kirby Smart's going to have that team ready to go and be a tough team.
Oh yeah,
But last year's Georgia just didn't seem to be the same really as they had powerhouse wise. And then now they're
right.
getting into this new era. So this quarterback could come up and be a Heisman runner by the end of it. Who knows? But as of right now, I got him too, which means I know we both got Texas as number one. Dude, I personally think Texas is going to be my prediction for the team to win the Natty next year. And I'll tell you why. Last year, as good as they were, and Quinn Ewers was a good quarterback, and he was their guy last year. I think Arch Manning's going to be the real deal, and I think they're going to upgrade from what Quinn Ewers was to what Arch Manning's going to be. And I think they've been putting pieces around that team in this offseason, and an already stacked team that's been getting pieces put in that's getting
Yes.
around him, around Arch Manning, who's already had some college play time, sitting behind the QB, the way that you do it, not just coming in, just throwing a freshman into the fire. He's got to get some play time. He's got to go in when Ewers was hurt, did well, won some games when he was hurt. And maybe I'm just high praising him too much. Not that I just love Texas or anything, but
Right.
I just say it is what it is. I think that they're going to be the real deal, and they will be a scary team to play. I would be shocked if Texas is not in the playoffs at the end of the year.
But yeah, yeah, that's like crazy to say. I mean, yeah, I mean Texas number one kind of hurts a little bit to say it just because they're the new kid in
Does.
town.
Yeah.
I will go on record before I say anything else about Texas. There is only one true shade of orange, and there's only one real UT in the SEC.
You can be Texas, but you ain't the real UT.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, what more do you say, dude? They have an incredible roster, insane. Arch Manning, like you said, I do believe that he's going to be the real deal. And really not even just because of the last name or like the bloodline or anything like that, dude. I just think that he looks good on the field. I think I just think it's from a talent perspective. I don't think that the name is adding anything to how I feel about it. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think you're right, man. I think that they're probably the number one contender to win it all. I'd be shocked if they don't. I'm so glad that we don't play them in the regular season. Maybe we will eventually. I think it'd be cool to see them play
Yeah.
Tennessee. Don't really want to play them right now while they're super hot.
No, let's give it like a year or two.
Yeah, but it's like they've got playmakers all over the field at every position, and it's impressive, dude, for them to come in and do what they did year one and just have the
Sure.
hype around them year one in the SEC, kind of coming in and hitting the big dogs of the SEC in the kneecaps, making them fall a bit, stumble a bit. I think they definitely wanted to. I think Oklahoma wanted to do that.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the pieces. But yeah, man, I knew we probably both agreed on that. We've kind of talked about that off camera a few times, how Texas is going to be good this year. So we'll see, man.
Yeah, man. I think it's interesting. We've been really similar on a lot of things on this list,
Yep.
and we
Yep.
definitely put our own kind of into this. I like, we talked about doing this topic. I knew this was going to be pretty much the episode because it was something that was going to take some time, but it's something I think I really wanted to do. And I think people love lists, man. People love predictions on how like things are going to turn out, and but I really like how we had some real similar things. We've talked about teams being good and stuff, but just for people listening, we just intentionally didn't discuss with each other what our list was going to be.
Right.
We want to see it right on the podcast, like as we're going, so keeping that genuine. So we really did not discuss our rankings. Cool to see. We're finding them out as we go. So it's definitely, I mean, obviously some of these are going to be similar if you're all looking up things or something. I mean, some of them just is what it is, but it was real cool, man, seeing how some of yours go and a couple of ours being so different. I think that was cool too. So we'll see how close we're going to be on
Yeah.
that for sure. I know it's a little bit of a lengthy episode on this one, and I mean, I don't know. This time go around with you, I don't know if we're going to have time for the whatever topic tonight or not, but yeah,
Yeah. Probably
whole
just
episode.
revisit it another
Yeah.
episode, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, but make sure you guys, like, comment, subscribe. And on this one especially, we got some, everybody's got an opinion on it. If you're an SEC fan, you got an opinion on how teams are going to do. Do you agree with who we had at the top? Do you agree? Is there something on our list that you really don't agree with with one of us? Is there something one of the out there ones that you're like, yeah, that was cool. Like, I think they are going to be good and stuff. So we appreciate all that, man. It is an opinion based thing, but with a little bit of stats. So it's like you can take the best educated guesses you can on it. Honestly, in my opinions. Anything you want to add to it for them, Adam?
Nah, man. I guess if you're watching, leave us a comment down there. Tell us. You don't have to put the entire 1 through 16, but give us your top three. Give us your top five. I'd really like to see what everyone else thinks about this coming up season. And these are way. I would consider these way too early predictions as far as the ranks go. But it was fun. I enjoyed it, man. Can't wait to do more, brother.
I'll say, bro.
All right, brother. See you later.